Well, number 2 was so good that we got number 3. I never thought I'd be saying that, but here we are talking about the hottest killer clown book series right now. But can this third one really hold its own, or has the sun finally set on this series? Talking about all this and more next. And we are back! Rex Reindeer here with you once again, talking about the hottest books in lit, making reading fun again. And as always, so glad you're here. Thanks for tuning in. Love you. I need you. I appreciate you. Glad you're here. And we got a lot to talk about right here. This is going to hit extra hard too if you watch my review on ClownInACornfield 2. If you haven't seen that review, go cue that up because that sets up this one right here. And you really need to read that book, seriously. If you want a fun summertime scary book, something like Goosebumps, then Cornfield 2, it's certified dope, seriously. Certified dope, better than the original, and that's rare. That's very, very rare because most originals, they never get a direct sequel, or at least not one that really, stands out on its own here. And I'm thinking of movies like Jurassic Park, The Lost World, when I say that. I'm thinking about Matrix Reloaded when I say that. These big budget sequels, these moonshots from major studios here, and they still didn't hit like the OGs. I mean, The Lost World, it sucked. The Lost World sucked. If you disagree, hit the comments, talk about it. But that was a lame sequel. Same with Matrix 2. That movie could have been so much better. But whatever. We're talking about ClownInACornfield 2 here. 2 is the rare exception to the shitty sequel rule here. And I had more fun reading Cornfield 2 than the original. It's better than the OG. Watch my review if you don't believe me. And props to Adam Cesare for pulling that off here. But let's talk about Cornfield 3. That's the book on the docket for today. ClownInACornfield 3. Adam Cesare, back in the author's seat. Harper Teen still publishing. And I don't think anybody ever thought we'd get this far. Seriously, even Cesare knows that this series has gone longer than anybody ever expected here. He actually makes a little note of that in the afterword of the book here. But it all goes back to one basic principle. Give the people what they want. And I never thought I would have wanted a third installment of a young adult horror series on killer clowns. But here I am. Here I am. And more importantly, here we are. Because if this thing was trash, then I would have fallen off. And the rest of the readers would have fallen off too here. But it is definitely not trash. No, it's not trash at all. Cesare has something here. And I'm not afraid to say it. He's got a knack for writing this snappy stuff, this action-packed R.L. Stine kind of stuff, these scary, fun summer books. And I felt like a kid again reading Cornfield 3. Seriously, I felt like I was going to knock this book out and get a star on my Reading is Fun card, and then I get to go to Pizza Hut for a free little pan pizza. Yeah, it's like that. That's why this shit is selling right here. That's why it's Cesare. He's taking us back to the glory days. But is the crust on that pizza getting stale? That's the question that I got to answer here. Because what goes up has to come down at some point, right? I mean, this thing has to jump the shark eventually, right? This is the stuff I've been thinking on right here. And to really dig into this, I think we got to compare Cornfield 3 to maybe the best threequel of all time. And that's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Yes, Indy 3. Indy 3 is so wonderful because it finally fills in the blanks of that franchise right there. And it does it in a very, very wonderful way, an eloquent way. And it also pushes the envelope too. Now, we all wanted to see Indy's dad, and we got that. Sean Connery, he killed it. It was brilliant casting. Stellar performance too. Love it. And we also all wanted to see how Indy became Indy. So we got River Phoenix in that opening scene, the carnival train chase right there. And the guy putting his hat on the kid's head. Chills. I get chills watching that scene. It's beautiful. And then making everybody look for the Holy Grail. Talk about raising the bar right there. Making a movie walk on water right there. Yeah, that's Spielberg. Bravo to Spielberg. He does good work. So does Cornfield 3 have all those beats? Do we get the origin story of cool characters here? Do we see major questions getting answered? Surprisingly, no. We don't get any of that here. But here's the thing. Cesare, he skipped out on all that so he could put all the points into serious action and crazy pacing with all this new stuff. It is a gamble, and it does make the book jump the shark, but it pays off. Because Missouri was getting a little bit stale. And I think we all knew that. Cesare knew it too. So he decides to shake things up a bit. Yes, he does. He shakes things up a bit by putting us in Pennsylvania this time. And the book hits the gas from the first chapter. We start with Quinn Maybrook. She is killing a dude in that first chapter. Well, she doesn't really kill him, but to have this kind of violence in the first 10 pages or so, yeah, there's no fucking around here. And I think it's because Cesare knows that we're back for thirds here. He knows we're back for thirds, and he decides to dump it on our plate right away so we can dig in. And I respect that. I do. Because, Cornfield 2, if you remember, that left us off with Quinn going after all the members of this little clown cult out here. So from the start, you think Cornfield 3 is going to be a revenge story. But it takes an interesting turn. We get some new characters thrown into the mix, and we find out that this clown cult here, it's got some religious backers. And those backers, they are pulling the true believers out to Pennsylvania. But the thing is, before this community out there that they've got going can really get off the ground, they need to use Quinn for something. And that means setting her up. So she gets set up, and she gets tied to this delightfully plucky partner. Highly unexpected here. I did not expect this flavor of partner, but it works. It works so well. And now we're off on a second adventure here, or a third adventure. Now, I got to backpedal here and mention there's no Rust here. There's no Rust. There's no Cole. The old characters, they take a back seat here. This book's a Quinn vendetta book. This is one final ride. This is Indiana Jones and his dad fighting the Nazis in a race against time. But there's also some storytelling here from within the Pennsylvania cult out there. Now, this could have been really deep, and it could have been really boring too. And Cesare, he could have stretched the cult mentality mindset. He could have really drummed this up and talked about the mental conflicts and the deprogramming, all that stuff. But he skips all that. He skips all that in favor of action-oriented storytelling. And let me just say how much I appreciate that. Because here's the bottom line. I don't want a book called ClownInACornfield to take itself too seriously. And it doesn't. It really doesn't. Cesare, he knows his audience. He knows his audience, and I love that he knows us. Now, he does slip once or twice with this book here. There is some preachiness in there, and it's not enough for me to really ding the book overall here. But the sweetness here, it gets a little sour with a couple, little preachy parts here. Small dose of forced politics. Not a fan of that, but like I said, this is a little speed bump here. The road, otherwise, it's very, very smooth. And speaking of preachiness, we get a nice new villain here too. And I am skirting around spoilers here, so I don't want to say too much, but things unfold in a very menacing way. And this thing is a young adult horror novel, so Cesare, he really pushes the limits of that PG-13 rating right here. This whole book, it feels like a movie that had to get a few scenes cut to avoid that big R restricted stamp. This is darker than Cornfield 2. And I think that's by design, just like Revenge of the Sith. Just like that film was darker than Attack of the Clones. It had to be. It had to be. We had to have the climax factor there. Because without that, you feel like the entire series was wasted. But I am very happy to report here, climax factor here, it is massive. It is huge. I didn't think that we could top the final act of Cornfield 2, but oh my God. Cornfield 3, it brings the goods. And you know that I love books that bring the goods. If you watch my review on December Park here, you saw me complain. I complained. I said I wanted the goods, and December Park, it failed to deliver. But here, not the case here. Cesare, he delivers. It's hot and fresh within 30 minutes. Oh boy, man, it's phenomenal. Let me just say, I don't smoke, but I felt like I needed a cigarette after that climax because the fireworks, they keep going off. They keep going off. And I mean, man, the phrase blood for the blood god, that's an understatement here. We needed this. And this ending, it also locked in my rating because I was actually waffling back and forth before I got blown away by this finish here. Like I said earlier, the book, it's not doing any prequel stuff. It's not going deep on any characters here. There's nothing really revelatory about this book. It's not Indie 3. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's not Indie 3, but it does have vibes closer to another very special threequel, and that's Army of Darkness. Cornfield 3 is Army of Darkness. It jumps the shark, and Cesare, he's aware of that. And I think that's why he made it so out of pocket, so crazy, so over the top here. But in spite of all that, he still brought the Goosebumps flair, that signature Goosebumps flair to the writing. And that is the big takeaway here. That's what R.L. Stine had to do for us with every new book that he put out there. And he did it. And Cesare, he did it here. He's carrying that torch here. He has not fallen off yet, thankfully. This is not Bunny 2. Happy to report. So with that in mind, I'm going to rate this thing. ClownInACornfield 3. Adam Cesare, Harper Teen. This book is dope. Yes, it is dope. Now, it's not as dope as Cornfield 2. But here's the thing. I was looking for a reason to downgrade this thing. I really was, because I don't rate anything on this program lightly. And yes, this may be a quirky little third installment of a young adult horror series, but it's a quirky little third installment that I could not put down. Really, I was at a bar drinking a beer, reading this thing, totally absorbed. I had to keep turning the pages. It is a great read. Take it how you want to take it. But this program, it's about making reading fun. You will have fun with this book. Seriously, shout out to Adam Cesare. I'll be back for number 4. Hopefully another good time there. And speaking of good times, if you got an opinion on all this, go and have a good time in the comments right now. Tell them what's up. No moderation down there. And if you like to hear about fun books, maybe subscribe, because it's my mission here on this program to pad your pipeline with the hot books. And this is all sponsor free. I don't get paid a dime for any of this. I just do it for the love of the game and the love of lit. We're making reading fun again here, and I'm going to keep the reviews coming. But for now, I got to get out of here. So it's Rex Reindeer signing out once again. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay reading, and I'll see you on the flip side.